Alrighty, guys, you have made it this far. Chapter 9, we are at our final project, finally, rigid body constraints. And we're going to be creating something that looks kind of like this, but on a larger scale. That's right, we are using the generic spring constraint. And how cool and fun does this already look? Let's go ahead and play this back again. As you can see, I have some springboards below. We're going to go ahead and create this really fun animation where we have a ball bouncing off of our springboards. Let's go ahead and get started. Very first thing I'm going to do, go back to frame 1, press A to select everything, and delete. All right, now that we've deleted everything, let's go ahead and add one springboard. I'm going to go ahead and just add a cube in here. I'm going to scale this down quite a bit, and I'm going to Shift D to duplicate, press Z so it's locked to the Z axis, and I'm going to bring this up, maybe a little bit more. That looks good. All right, now that we have everything we need, all I need to do is add some rigid bodies to these. So I'm going to add a rigid body to our top right here. I'm going to keep that at active, and then I'm going to add a rigid body to the bottom. But this time, I'm going to make this rigid body passive. So again, if we press play, you can see they fall on top of each other, which is perfect. Now, for this top cube that we've compressed, we're going to add a rigid body constraint. For our type, instead of fixed, we're going to switch that over to generic spring, and we're going to go ahead and check box every single thing here. We're not going to adjust any settings because we don't need to. Checkbox everything down here. All right. And then we just have to adjust a couple of settings and select our objects. Make sure everything's checked. Go ahead and set the stiffness to 200 and the dampening to 1. We're going to do the same thing for each one of these. We're going to speed this up real quick. And for our linear, you're going to do 200 and 1. Exact same values. 200 and 1 for the dampening. So make sure you copy these exact values that I have here on the right. Then we're going to use our eyedropper tool to select our first object, which is our top cube. And we're going to use our second object as our passive platform. So if we press play, you can see we have our spring set up. Now, how to verify that we have our spring speed up? We're going to go ahead and add in a sphere. We're going to go ahead and raise this up. We're going to give this a rigid body, and you can make the mass, 10 kilograms. And let's see what happens when we drop the sphere. And just like that, our spring is properly working. Now, there's a really easy way, don't forget to save your project. There's a really easy way to copy everything. I'm just going to go ahead and scale this sphere way up, and I'm going to bring it up here. What I want to do is I want to highlight these two objects here, all right, and you can see we can move them around. I'm going to press Shift D, okay, and then Y to lock this to my Y axis. And I'm going to go ahead and click to confirm, and I'm going to press Shift R to repeat that action until I have as many as I want. Shift R, Shift R, Shift R, Shift R, Shift R, Shift R. That looks good. Now we're going to highlight these, and this entire row is going to get duplicated, but on the x-axis. Shift D to duplicate, and then as you're hovering, press X to slide it over, and that looks about right. That looks perfect. Maybe we'll bring it in just a little bit. Actually, I'm going to delete these and restart. Shift D. I'm going to try to get these spaced out pretty evenly. That looks good. You guys can choose any spacing you want. Shift R to repeat the action, and that looks pretty darn good. I don't know if that's a perfect square, but if it is, I eyeballed it correctly. I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to scale our sphere way up. I'm going to go to our top-down view. I'm also going to turn on our random colors so that we can really see what's going on here. I am going to make our sphere about that big. I'm going to bring it up, and then I'm going to save my project because if I play this, it could crash. I don't know because I haven't played it before. Let's go ahead and play our physics simulation. And as you can see, this is looking really awesome. But I think I want this to kind of roll a little bit more. So how do we do that? Well, let's go ahead and scale this down, put it right here, and let's add sort of a ramp for this to roll off of. I'm just going to add a cube to our scene, scale it, make it really thin, scale it up. I'm going to go to our side view, and I'm just going to rotate it just a little bit, and then I'm going to put it right under our cube so that the cube the sphere really just rolls right off. I actually want it to roll right across everything. So I think I'll set it up like this. I want it to roll across the center and look really satisfying. So let's go ahead and click on our cube, add a rigid body. We want this to be passive because we want it to just be a floating platform. And now if we go ahead and press play, let's see what happens. Hopefully all this is set up correctly. And our sphere is rolling, and it rolls right across our springboard. And that was super satisfying. That was awesome. Now let's go ahead and add some actual shading to this and a little bit of basic lighting. Very first thing I'm going to do to get a nice background on this, I'm going to add a plane in here, scale it way up, make sure it's below everything else, and we're just going to use that as our basic background. I always like to save as I add more to my scene. That's just the way I do things. Go ahead to your rendered view. Let's add in an HDRI. We're going to click on environment texture over in our world settings like before, and then I'm going to go to my HDRI folder, and I will choose, how about this one right here? I really like this HDRI. I just think it's simple and easy to use. For our sphere, we're going to shade that auto smooth. All right, and then we're going to select, that's weird. All right, there we go, shade auto smooth. We're going to select our materials tab down here, this little red circle, and we're going to create a new material, and we are going to give this a high metallic value and a roughness of 0.2 so that it looks chrome. Now for our platform, I may leave that the way it is, but for our background, I think I'm going to choose probably something a little bit darker. Again, I'm just making a new material and applying it to our floor plane here. Now for these, I think I want these plates to be gold or blue. So let's go ahead and click on this first plate, click on new, and maybe we'll make this one blue. That looks pretty good. Metallic blue, that looks great. Now an easy way to copy this material is if we go to our side view, select everything, and now, see how this one's highlighted orange? All we have to do is Control L, which is going to allow us to copy the materials over. Simply click on Link Materials, and just like that, everything is blue. And we can continue to change the values of this shader. Maybe I want them to be a little bit more metallic, like that. That looks really good. And then you know what? For this platform, why don't we make it a nice orange color for the theme of Blender? That looks great. We'll raise that metallic value, lower that roughness a bit, and now we have to find a nice angle for our animation. I kind of like this angle right here because I feel like the lighting's pretty good, but let's go ahead and rotate around. Maybe even something from this angle right here. All right, let's set it up. Let's go ahead and add a camera to our scene. Add camera. All right, and here's our camera, nice and small. You can always scale your camera up so you can see it better in the scene. I'm going to snap to my camera by clicking this button. Then I'm going to go ahead and back the camera way up in our scene. I'm going to move it by pressing the G key. You can also just slide these values right here. And I'm going to switch it to orthographic. For some reason, I've just really been digging the orthographic style. I'm going to zoom that way out over here in our camera properties. And then I'm going to try to set my scene up like this. This looks really good. There's one more thing I want to do. I actually want to click on my floor plane, and I just want to add a passive rigid body to that. Now we should be able to play everything back. Let's go ahead and enable depth of field, and then we'll play this back. I'm going to go ahead and click on my camera. I'm going to click on the depth of field option, and I'm going to select the center cube here. That looks pretty good. Maybe we'll set the depth of field to about 1, or maybe lower, 0.3. That looks pretty good. I love that blurred effect. That's just me personally. All right, let's play this back. You can see our sphere falls, and it falls onto our platforms, and it just looks so cool. I love the way it moves and squishes these platforms, and then it falls right off. And that's just a really simple way to set something like that up. You can make this grid as big as you want. You can change the colors of anything you want. You can change the background to white, to black, to blue, to any color you can think of. This white doesn't look terrible either. And don't forget, if you really want to see a cleaner version without this grid, see this background grid, you can just simply click this button up here, where my mouse is, and you can turn off your overlays. That way you can get a really clean view of what this would look like. This is going to look fantastic when I render this out. Now you don't have to bake this if you don't want to, but you're more than welcome to. And don't forget, to find your baking options, you go over to Scene over here, Rigid Body World, Cache, which means the memory that Blender has, and you can simply click on Bake. Now, I shouldn't have to do that because right now everything looks fine in viewport. There's really not a lot going on that Blender has to remember, but as you can see, this looks really good. Don't forget, you can adjust any settings to your liking. Have fun with it, guys. Be creative. You don't have to use springs. You can use any constraint you want, but I encourage you to use at least one constraint, all right, with your rigid body world, and try to use something with a higher mass so you can really see the effects of it on your scene. Have fun with this one. All right, don't be afraid to experiment and try something new. If there's any other constraints you want to try them out. You don't have to use the spring. Record your screen, render out a cool scene, and have fun with it. I will see you guys in the next chapter. In the next lesson, we'll be exploring soft body physics, where you'll learn how to simulate objects that can bend, stretch, and deform. We'll see you there.